So that's Laser Pope, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh wow, that's incredible.
I know.
Coming to a theatre
Is
near
that
you.
actually going to be a feature, like an actual thing?
No,
Or is it...
that's not going to be in the cinemas. But that's gonna be like a Blu-ray release.
Sure?
Yeah, like I feel like
Oh,
it'll be a thing.
Oh yeah, I think it's an actual film. Like
Okay.
you've seen Iron Sky, haven't you?
No.
You never seen?
No.
Have you seen Iron Sky?
Yeah.
Yeah. So obviously, when the Germans lost World War II,
Yeah.
what they actually did was they retreated to that other base on the dark side
Yeah,
of the moon.
I was gonna say, I'm like, is this the one you're telling me about with like on the other side of the moon?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard about it. Apparently, it's like ridiculously dumb.
Yeah,
It was in Hitler's archives and everything. You know,
Oh,
he had
yeah.
the base up there.
Yeah, no, he had the rocket. Yeah, no. It's fucking good. Oh, but yeah, that was Iron Sky was it. I don't want to say it was bad because it did well enough that they easily funded their sequel because they did a sequel to it as well.
Yep.
Where they went to like a prehistoric land, so there's dinosaurs and
I
that
haven't
sort of
seen the
stuff.
sequel, but I do remember you talking about it when
I
was
haven't seen a
coming.
sequel either.
Oh.
I think Joel has.
How like how would they go prehistoric? Like, is it supposed to be a sequel with the Hitler still in it, or like entirely different concept?
No. So it's still Nazi Germany. I'm pretty sure. Well, Nazis, not Germany, just Nazis.
Nazis.
I think,
Das Moon.
I think Das SS soldier. No, I think what happens is they go into like, Journey to the Center of the Earth. They go to like a subterranean sort of world and like there's dinosaurs there. I think that's the basic premise concept of how they have their dinosaurs and everything there.
Yeah, it's like untouched by everything.
Yeah.
That whole concept.
Stupid anyway.
well.
But I did want to start on. I don't want to start talking about Laser Pope anyway,
Nah.
or
Yeah.
like dodgy. I'm gonna call that D grade movies, not even B grade. Lucy,
Sharknado level.
even Sharknado's B grade.
I have no
Yeah.
comment on Sharknado.
I mean, yeah, Sharknado is a proper C, B grade movie. But no, what I actually want to talk about was a game which I kickstarted now like a year ago, long time ago. But it's still going. Like it's still in development. It's called Kingdom Come Deliverance. You probably heard of it.
Yeah, I know. It's the medieval RPG.
Yeah, so this is you played Skyrim, haven't you?
Yep.
Yeah, so
Briefly. No, yeah.
so it's much more in depth than Skyrim, but in a simple way to describe, it's like imagine Skyrim with none of the high fantasy. So high fantasy is all the magic, the elves, all the supernatural stuff. Absolutely none of that. It's a pure medieval experience.
Yep.
But what else is different? So, I mean, that's the simplest way to describe it, but there's a lot of depth here in that your character doesn't level. There is no level progression system.
Is there a skill progression?
There's your skill progression.
Yeah.
Like you actually playing the game better.
Oh.
You can get better armors, get better weapons. You can learn certain skills through it. But if you're out on a fight and you're fighting a farmer and he happens to get a lucky axe shot on your head, well, you're dead.
It's almost like a grand sort of strategy RPG where it goes into so much depth of what skills you need to learn, when you need to learn them, how you need to learn them.
Yeah.
From what I've seen.
Yeah.
I mean,
And it looks amazing. It's built on the is it called Crytek engine?
I don't know if it's
Just CryEngine.
Crytek.
Oh, the Cry engine.
Yep.
And they consulted with Cloud Imperium Games, the guys who make Star Citizen, and vice versa, because they're obviously both using this engine and they're both taking it to like the absolute limit of where it can go. So they both help each other, but it has a really in-depth system, and there's you can't just sort of do things like you would in other games where like they're talking about in a recent post. You can go to a monastery and become a monk, like a sort of monk fighter, but you don't just sort of go like, click a button and become a monk. There's like a whole quest line, like a long quest line on how you become a monk.
Yeah. How you get enlightened and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
and there's lords and there's earls and there's dukes and like there's all these cross relationships, and it's like when I played it a bit Warband, but on a smaller individual scale. Like you're just one person. You never command other people, but you're just like an important person.
Yep.
It looks great. It looks amazing because it's CryEngine.
Yeah,
Like,
CryEngine's beautiful.
Speaking on the topic of Kickstarter, there's a game I'd like to kickstart. It's their thing. It doesn't have a title for the name. It just says bringing back isometric strategy games. I mean, StarCraft though, it was a good isometric game.
Yeah.
It's called Anthrax. It's a game where you build your own like metal robot and you build bases and stuff.
Okay.
So, but the thing is, they're really pushing it. It's your robot. You can customize it however you want and build bases and stuff. I think it looks really cool. They haven't got many backers as of yet. I mean, I really want to show my support.
Is there anyone who's part of the development team that's important though?
Not that I'm fully aware of, but
Because like that's a tricky thing. Like WildStar, whilst WildStar is now, I mean, depending on your perspective and your bias, is more or less is a commercial failure or a critically failure. Sorry,
Yeah.
they're still making money, but
Still
that
pretty dead.
yeah, that game launched to a lot of fanfare because there was 12 original founders to the original team, but 4 or 5 of them were from Blizzard's WoW team. So it's just like,
I see,
okay, that's
yeah.
got a pedigree.
Cool.
And I think
People
another
know what to expect.
yeah, another 2 or 3 were from the Guild Wars team.
Oh, yeah.
So it's just like, when you see a game like that, it's just like, well, I don't know what sort of game they're gonna make, but I know that the people making this sort of game have experience in this sort of game.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean that's why.
So you got like
Yeah.
some level of expectation.
Not
from it.
to my knowledge, I don't think this project does. But look, it looks fantastic.
Yeah.
It really touches my heart to see them bringing back an old,
Well,
isometric
there's
stuff
Wasteland.
like that.
I mean,
Yeah.
I mean that's not an RTS, but Wasteland did really well. Like their second Kickstarter, they smashed it, and then for Wasteland 2, and then that released, everyone was happy with that, and then they just announced just recently that they just started up their Wasteland 3 Kickstarter for the sequel to that one.
Yeah.
And because Wasteland 2 was so good, everyone was just like, oh, well, there's no reason not to trust them. They delivered on the game. The
Yeah.
game was good, and within I think 24 or within 48 or 72 hours, they'd already surpassed their Kickstarter goal. They wanted to raise like 2.75 million.
Yeah.
I think by the third day they're already on 3.3.
Yeah.
And I don't know where it's at now. It's probably on
Waste-
4.
huge, yeah.
Wasteland.
Yeah, Wasteland 3.
I think 4. I think they're talking about doing 4.
Yeah.
No, I
there's
mean
no-
4 million.
Oh, I thought you meant the actual game 4.
Yeah, they might do a
They're
fourth.
they've been talking about it, but nothing's solid. There's
Well, they're
no
already
solid
they're doing
ground.
3 right
Yeah.
now, so they got to get 3 out the door.
Well,
Yeah,
that was
but
like,
they're doing
um,
what the Ubisoft does. They promise things in the future as the new one comes out. Sorry, what were you saying, Jacob?
All this was like when Secret Hitler got put on Kickstarter.
Yeah.
People were like, "Oh, Secret Hitler, don't know much about that." And then they saw the people who made some of the people who made Cards Against Humanity were making this, and they were just like, "Want it?
Yeah, yeah,
Want it?" And that thing got funded so heavily.
Yeah,
including me.
You need a pedigree, or you need to have like a trustworthy background where you can call people out on their crap. So like there's, I mean, there'd be certain YouTubers, or as an example, the guy who made Exploding Kittens.
Yep.
Exploding Cats.
Kittens, yeah.
Kittens. So he was just a comic book artist. Well, he's actually a webcomic artist. He then started making books of his webcomic.
Yeah.
But his comics, people could see that he was an intelligent person. He had a very like funny, objective view of sort of things, and that he was smart with the way he did stuff. So when he announced he was doing Exploding Kittens, there was not a lot of reason to not trust him, because
Yeah.
it's just like, well,
Because
like,
he's got that
he
on
makes
his
quality,
resume.
like he makes quality content.
Yeah.
He doesn't sound like an idiot. There's been no history of him doing shady stuff, and so he's like an established brand.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of these Kickstarters fail. It's because, I mean, you can't really expect us to come out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Like with no one on your team that's known for anything.
It's always a risk.
And
even-
I mean, people might say, "Oh, well, you got to start somewhere." It's like, that's great. Why don't you actually start releasing your alpha first before you even go to a Kickstarter? Because then you'll get people being just like commenting on the Kickstarter, being like, "Oh yeah, I've played the alpha through Indiegogo or IndieDB, whatever, Indie Database, I think it is, or like whatever. Like release it on torrent, because if it's just an alpha, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
But get people playing it before you go release a Kickstarter,
Yeah,
and,
well-
and paywall people.
Yeah.
And Antrax has got a demo you can get now off
Yeah.
their OneDrive. I've yet to try it yet. I've just got it now. I'm going to try when I get home. But
Yeah, and that's what you should do, but you should do that well and surely prior to the Kickstarter.
this is
Yeah.
at the same time though. when
Yeah,
I
you
did
should
it.
like you almost need to do like a 30 or 60 day promo up to your Kickstarter.
Yeah.
Because you need to generate news, you need to generate stuff.
Got to get people interested. You got people to like click on the Kickstarter link and say, "Yeah,
Just don't
I
do a
want this."
Peter Molyneux and overhype something.
Yeah. I still remember, did I show you, I think I showed both of you that rock, paper, shotgun interview that he did. So if you forget, I'm pretty sure I
think
did.
I
But basically,
remember.
so he does this interview with this online site, and it is brutal, but is entirely warranted. And I think it was a long time coming. It definitely was overkill in some parts, but like I said, it was entirely warranted for just catching up. But the very first question, well, I think the very first question was, do you consider yourself a pathological liar? that is the tone set it through the video and the
What an
interview.
opening question.
And I was like, oh my god, and I just knew where I was going to go. And, to his credit, a lot of people do this in interviews. To his credit, they'll ask a question, they'll give like some bullshit answer, and then they'll move on. This guy was just like, no, but what do you mean about all those promises you broke? All the times you constantly said you're gonna do this, you can do this, but you never delivered. Like,
Yeah.
what do you have to say about that? And Peter got like so angry. Like, he got angry in an interview, which you know you can understand, because obviously you get angry and you get defensive.
Yeah.
And he's just like, well, bloody hell, you know, I know what you're already going to write. You already painted me in this sort of light. And the guy was like, well, I don't think we've painted you in any other light other than the light that you've painted yourself in. Like, it
he
was
just outsmart the smart.
Yeah.
if you haven't read it, Rock Scissors Shotgun, or whatever it's called, I'll put a link in the description down below.
Yeah.
And it's cringy to read. It's hard to read. You sort of read it and you scroll through. And you look away from the screen. It's like, it's a train wreck.
I'm probably gonna go watch it just for like. So read it.
Read it
just for some fun.
Talking
like,
about, here you go. So,
no, I was just gonna say, I'm just gonna go watch it. It just sounds like, just sounds funny.
It's definitely something that you should read, and it's very. I think more than anything, like particularly if you're aspiring game developers or game designers or just interested in the game field, it just shows you that having humility with your games before you hype them up is an important thing to have.
Yeah.
Because Peter always had good intentions, but good intentions don't fix broken games.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I love Fable. I can legitimately and literally say that I have beat the first Fable over 200 times. I like it. One summer, I just with my mate Richard, we played that game continually over and over and over and over and over and over, just doing different things, like finding different ways to speed run it and like circumvent certain things. And yeah, I have legitimately beat that game over 200 times.
When it first came out, I got it on Xbox 3 days straight of just playing the whole story through.
It was good. Like, he's not a bad game designer. He just really over promises.
He knows how to make games. He knows how to make things look good, but he doesn't know how to say, well, this mechanic's going to work because this is what my dream is, and not putting it into a game.
You can write your ideas on a piece of paper, and you can say it's gonna have it in. But unless it does have it in, don't go releasing that to the media. No. It's like me going to just one of my lecturers and saying, hey, so I'm releasing this game in a month, alright, and it's gonna have all of this in it. And then I give him this EXE that just doesn't do anything. He's like, what happened? I'm like, oh, well, I mean... Stuff, yeah, like it happened. I had all these ideas. That's exactly what it is, like...
Speaking of cringeworthy things and false promises, I just saw the other day. Now, we all know what No Man's Sky is. We all know what that is.
What's No Man's Sky? Tell me about No Man's Sky, Max.
No Man's
Tell
Sky,
me more.
if you don't know it, is a game where you explore planets and you scan things to research new things and all that. But anyway, just the other day...
It's going to be a hit.
Yeah. Well, just the other day I saw that it had reached the lowest rating ever on Steam.
Yep, I heard all about that.
Well, you know
Can
how...
you believe that, though?
Well, it's funny that we were talking about Peter because I can't remember his name. Keighley, Geoff Keighley. He's like a game reporter from way back, and he's got his own show now on YouTube. Really good videos, but he actually referenced the fact that Peter Molyneux and Sean Murray, basically, like Sean Murray is the current day Peter Molyneux.
Yeah.
Like over-promising on No Man's Sky and really under-delivering. And if you didn't already know, No Man's Sky is being investigated by the UK Advertising Office, specifically for what is on their Steam page, because what it is with digital purchases is the Steam page is basically the box that you're buying a game. When you go into a store and you look in the box and you see things in the box, you should be able to do the things that the box show.
Yeah. So
the Steam page is the equivalent of that. So, for example, things that are shown on the Steam page, which you don't even have to do, but just aren't even in the game, is that there's choreographed flying of other faction ships on the planets. That just doesn't actually exist in game.
No.
It's not even something that you can do. Just the fact that never happens is just like, well, you lied about that. Because that's obviously insinuating that there's faction play on planet side. When there's very there's none.
There's almost none.
There's only the sentries.
Really?
There's only the sentries and those stupid bases you go to, which are identical.
Yeah, I remember, I was only worried when I first went into one because I thought, I assumed most or all the planets when I first played were sort of uninhabited.
Yes.
And so I got in, I saw, okay, there's a base, there must have been life here. And I saw no ships around at all. And I walk in, there's this alien. I sort of freaked out for a second. I'm like, is he going to, shoot me? Because, I don't know. And then nothing. happen. You just talk to him, and then like you say the wrong thing sometimes, and like he gets angry and doesn't give you something, but they never like actually engage with you.
And they all do the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Learn their language to get a.
And they all look the same.
Yeah.
Like between aside from the different species, they all look the same and sound the same. And it's just, I know you're a small studio, but surely you can make more than 10 models of an alien.
Do what Spore did, and like try and like
do what you did for the rest of the aliens. Make it procedural.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Exactly, like procedurally generated. It's not that hard. Well, I mean,
I know.
I'm saying that from my perspective. For me, it'd be hard. But I mean, for a game like developer like you, who's making, would you call it AAA at this level?
Almost.
Almost AAA. You'd think you'd be able to do at least something on that level to add some kind of like diversity.
Yeah.
And
I know.
It
gets a lot of flack, No Man's Sky. But one thing that I really thought was cool was the whole going from one planet to the next. I mean, that was kind of cool. I've never really done that properly in games before, ever. That was pretty cool, but apart from that, that's the only good thing I'd take away from No Man's Sky.
That was fun when I finally discovered how to do, like, the extra level of warp. Well, all the different, like, speeds you go at. So when I finally got into space, like, you move at your rate, and then you can go a little bit faster. And then I figured out you can go even faster. But because I was using controller, because that game plays horribly with mouse and keyboard.
Oh, yeah.
I was using the controller, and I'm like, all right, so I press B to go a little bit faster. And then both shoulders, and then the trigger to keep moving forward. I'm holding 4 buttons to go, and that's not even
Does a little noise build up?
Yeah. And I'm just like, I know you can press it and you can let go. You can let go and you'll keep moving at that speed. But it took me so long to figure it out. And even when I was doing that, because I went to the options and was like, okay, it's the bumpers to go the extra bit of speed. Because I watched a video of this guy doing it. I'm like, how do I do that?
Yeah.
And so, and I do it. It's like,
he lied to you.
It's like, and it's not doing anything. It's just giving me this noise, no feedback.
You know the game's effed up if you have to look at YouTube video to see how to do something basic.
Well, like, even the video didn't sort of describe it, because the guy doesn't have to, like, say, everything is pressing to do it. You just assume that, the controls in the game and the options should be enough to, like, do it.
Yeah.
It's like...
It's like when you read a forum post like, oh, I'm having this problem. Oh, never mind, I solved it. Well, how did you solve it, man? Like, you want to fill us in?
I stared at the screen really hard.
It pissed me off.
Yeah, no, but from this, the one good thing that's going to be coming out of it is the fact that when they get investigated, which they are, and when they are inevitably found guilty, because I don't see how they cannot be, it should make more Steam pages honest then, because Steam will be held liable. So the UK advertising agency doesn't really hand out massive fines. They're not going to shut down any businesses. That's not what they do. No. They sort of like bring things into line and say, okay, look, it was a bit of a Wild West thing here. This is how you need to do it from now on. You can't do this, you can't do this, you can't do that.
Wild West, just...
Yeah.
I can just have this image of McCree just going high noon on all these companies. It's high noon.
Westworld.
Westworld?
Have you not watched it?
No, hang on. Westworld, no. I haven't
the new
watched
TV
it
show from HBO? You've seen the first episode, haven't you?
There's been ads
haven't
up
had
the
a chance
bum
to,
all over it.
I have. It's on my list. I haven't had a chance.
Is it going to... So, have you seen...
I've seen the first 2 episodes. I don't want to spoil absolutely anything because it is
just tell me it's good, so it's good.
It is amazing. It is amazing. If you love world building, where things start off slow, and also the best thing about it, just sort of like with Game of Thrones, because this is meant to take over Game of Thrones. They learnt a lot from it because it's made by HBO.
Yep.
It absolutely just throws you straight in.
Cool.
There is no real big setup, no big explanation. You are just learning things through each episode, and a little bit more and more here and there.
So no Sean Bean, Boromir, none of that. He's not there.
No.
Dang.
I can give you the basic.
Spirit.
I can give you the basic premise of it, because this is like what the movie is based on, and this doesn't really spoil too much. But basically, in the far future, or I think it's like 2050.
In the far future.
Oh,
yeah,
sorry.
in the far future, there's like this massive real world, not a virtual world. It's a real like theme park, real space.
Yep.
Which is just filled with robots where you can live out like different fantasies. So Westworld is one of them, which is a Western style one.
Okay.
And then there was a sequel to the movie called Future World, which is obviously a futuristic sort of thing. And apparently there's other worlds. This one is just called Westworld. So I guess if this series ever was really great, they could probably then take it off onto like another
the
one.
potential, who knows?
But they did the filming for this 2 years ago, and apparently they've already filmed like the first 2 seasons of it. And what they're hoping is, because there's only 2 seasons left of Game of Thrones, this is going to play out. Next season plays out of Game of Thrones. Then this one plays out. Then the last season of Game of Thrones plays out. And then by then, people are well established after 2 seasons, and they're coming into the 3rd season of this, that everyone should be hooked and transitioned over.
That's smart.
Because Game of Thrones is their biggest IP.
HBO knows how to do this, don't they?
And they've only got there's only 12 episodes left because they're only 6 episode seasons for Game of Thrones.
Are they doing? Oh, really?
Yeah.
I don't know how they're going to tie it up in 12.
I've completely lost track of Game of Thrones, so...
I think they've just gotten to the point where they're just like, we can't go too ahead of the books because people are getting mad.
No, they already know the ending.
Yeah, I know. They know the ending, but the TV show is different to the book.
Yeah.
And I think they've just gone, all right, we're going to wrap this up. George, don't die before you finish the book.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'd say, and I guess people may not like this, but he's already told the producers and people in confidence who need to know the proper official ending to the whole series.
Yeah.
So I assume that if he does die of a heart attack, which seems like the most likely way he'd die, people could finish it for him. Yeah.
Speaking of West stuff, or Wild West stuff, I saw Magnificent Seven just the other week.
Nice. I thought you were going to go somewhere else, but go on. So I'll bring it up.
It's great. Now, I haven't seen a good Western since, the old ones with Clint Eastwood and John Wayne and all that. They've got all the Magnificent Seven, it's got all that cheesy Western stuff in it. Go into saloon, piano stops, everyone stares. That happens.
Have you seen the original Magnificent Seven? Because this is a remake, right?
Yeah, it is a remake of an original. I haven't seen the original, but this is making me want to watch the original just because of how well they've done this one. And it's, like I said, it brings all the old cheesy lines. And
I love all the actors.
Tell me, how good looking is Chris Pratt?
He is gorgeous. He's so gorgeous.
He's a good looking man.
And his character, he's honestly, could be trivial, but he sort of plays himself.
Oh, excellent. I can't wait to see this now.
Yeah, sort of type of characteristics he always plays. That's what he plays in Magnificent Seven.
I'm keen to see my boy Denzel. I love some Denzel. Training Days, such a good movie. If it wasn't appropriate, I'd say the line that everyone's thinking from Training Days, but I can't.
No, you can't.
No, I can't.
But all in all, Magnificent Seven, I highly recommend seeing it. It brings back the good Western genre that we need.
You should... Also, if people do like Magnificent Seven, there's another film which the original Magnificent Seven is based off on as well, by Akira Kurosawa, which is Seven Samurai, which is what the original idea was. Basically, a village was getting attacked. They sent off a little girl or some woman with all their money to go and hire 7 mercenaries to help defend it. And so she goes off and hires up the 7 samurai, and that's
Is this a movie that's happening?
No, this is an old movie.
This is what started the whole thing.
This came in like 1954.
Oh, okay, sorry.
I think it's black and white and it's 3 hours long, but it's good.
I was confused because there's another movie that's coming out. I think it's called Great Wall. With
how bad does it look though? Matt Damon.
Matt Damon.
Just what are you doing? What are you doing?
Well, they got him for that. I think that feels like it was a favor thing for him. They got him for that to do it because they needed like, as bad as it sounds, they needed like a white Western actor for it to become more popular in the media. I mean, because so many Asian films get released, but you never hear about them.
Yeah, I guess that's just the way it is, isn't it? With the whole...
Well, it partly is, because you've got an Eastern market and you've got a Western market, and films can sometimes translate across to both, but they don't really, because there's idioms which are unique to a culture. Like every dog has his day. Like, that doesn't translate, like, those sort of words or that sort of meaning doesn't translate to other languages. So, like, you can't translate those sort of things.
It has to be done in its own unique way.
Yeah, so that's why, like, you have some Western movies and Eastern movies, which are just, like, you can have people who appreciate Western movies on the Eastern side who like it and vice versa, but it will never just universally work across both, because...
I also think it's we don't see a lot of Asian-type movies is because a lot of us, except for, like, select few that say watch a lot of anime...
Yeah.
Don't mind looking at subtitles, where a lot of people are just like, hate subtitles.
My girlfriend hates it.
But I do too. I don't like watching a lot of anime because subtitles. Now I'm not saying like it's bad. I'm just saying, I just
It's a
preferably
preference.
it's a preference.
I don't mind.
Um,
I'm just slow.
Yeah.
I always just miss things. Like,
But,
oh, wait a minute.
I don't like subtitles, and so it would be hard for me to watch a lot of Asian films or just foreign films in general because having to like watch 2 hours of subtitles. Whereby I think over in those cultures they see a lot of English films because they might be used to watching subtitles
Yeah.
because they're so huge over here, so they get translated over there and they watch them a lot more in subtitles, so it's easy for them to watch it, whereby it's a lot harder for our culture to watch it.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Definitely. Which is really unfortunate because there are so many movies that get released overseas which could be good, like there's like the Ip Man series, and there's like a police force series with Jackie Chan, which I always liked. But yeah, back to that Matt Damon movie. It's a lot of cheese.
Yeah.
Like, he's just, like, jumping off the Great Wall or something, like, with his rope around him. And, like, he's killing demons. Like, these big demons. And he's killing them with, like, just a bow and arrow. Like, oh, yeah, they'll take him out. Nice.
Well, ever since he was in The Bourne, he's invincible. He can do anything.
Yeah. But where I thought you were going to go with the Western stuff was Rockstar has teased 2 pictures.
Ah,
I
yes, I saw
was
this.
going to talk about this as well.
This was
afterwards.
all the r/gaming.
yes.
This was all it was.
Let's
Yeah.
talk
Like,
about this, please. It needs to
So-
be addressed.
Again, I think I mentioned this in, like, the second or the first video. I very rarely ever finish a game. But I finished Red Dead 3 times.
It's a beautiful game.
It's just, I just like, when it came out, particularly because that was when the graphics were most astounding, because it was new, you just get the horse, and I used to just, like, trot slowly on general, like, purposely, just, like, on, like, sort of high ridges, just looking over.
Just felt good.
Yeah.
I like the music in it. The whole sort of.
My favorite parts of that game that I'm seeing in my head right now is when you could get aim hacks with Molotovs, and you
Yeah.
aim at a bird and you throw the Molotovs.
Yes.
It
Yeah.
made me laugh every time.
Using the snake eye feature.
Oh,
He's clearly McCree.
no, McCree was
McCree's-
based off him.
He's McCree's grandfather.
McCree Marsden.
Yeah.
So, what do you guys think? I mean, Red Dead sequel.
Was it
we
actually
want
confirmed as a
one.
Red Dead sequel teaser?
Well, no,
Because
that's the thing.
A
They
lot of
haven't said
people
it
were
yet,
saying
though.
that it was a teaser for GTA 5 Halloween expansion, or just like
I
content.
hope it's not.
Well, yeah.
Well, this lines up with a leak that came out around 3 or 4 months ago, where a map leaked. So basically, where Red Dead Redemption was sort of set.
Yep.
The story ends. I can't remember exactly what it says, but with, like, the next big thing is like the railroad or some sort of big, like, gold rush sort of thing, and that references just this other location, which is just a little bit further up. And there's a map that leaked which showed the original location where you played, with a path that went to the new spot.
Yeah.
And it all lined up with, like, these internal documents and teasers and other secret stuff. So
Yeah, there's some other Easter eggs they put in at the very end game. Like,
Yeah.
I won't spoil what you do in the end game, but if you look at the last newspaper article, it suggests it's talking about a great war that's going to happen. So
Yeah.
it's sort of suggesting World War I's on its way. That was a cool little sort of teaser they
Yeah.
put in there. Rockstar is well known for doing that sort of stuff.
So, I mean, I would like to believe that it's Red Dead.
Yeah.
There was a massive outpour of happiness when they released Red Dead on backwards compatibility for Xbox One. So Rockstar is very aware that people want a Red
That's
Dead
not the
game.
only thing they want. They want HD. They want a HD remake of Red Dead Revolver, which is probably not going to happen. But how cool would that be, though? It was a great game, despite
it?
the overacting in some of it.
It was
Damn,
okay.
what?
That's what the original Red Dead was
Yeah.
loosely based on.
Very, very loosely. There's
Like,
no
yeah, just the
connection to
idea.
the characters, really.
But in other teaser news, there's BlizzCon coming up on November 4th. I was hoping to see something at GDC and Gamescom when we went over to Germany, but nothing happened there. But I really just want something to happen with Diablo. There's like...
You're crying for another Diablo game, aren't you? I mean,
Yeah.
you love it so much.
I don't know.
understand.
I don't know if I want a Diablo 4, another Diablo 3 expansion. It'd have to be like a massive overhaul again. Or apparently there's rumors of Diablo 1 and 2 getting just like a full HD remake.
That would
and
be
update.
good. Oof.
It would be, but I really like the metagaming in 3, which they'd obviously be able to bring more of in 4.
4.
So-
That's the big holy grail you're waiting for, isn't it?
It is.
Diablo 4.
But I
I
really
think that they should just stop on Diablo and acquire Path of Exile.
You should just kill yourself.
Oh, you've just made... Here's Travis's dreams, and this is Jacob.
Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate.
Bang!
It's unfortunate that there hasn't been that many podcasts, and we already got to see Jacob go. But no,
Travis, I'm with you. It would be great to see another Diablo, and it would be it would be cool if they You know what is hard though? I mean, Diablo 1. It's a hard. I mean, you can have ways to acquire it, but you know, it's a hard game to get. Believe it or not. I mean, it is on eBay for reasonable prices. It is on Amazon as well, but. You know, I still remember buying it and having nightmares, but still playing it anyway because it was beautiful.
Yeah, the other disappointing thing, which makes me think that nothing is really going to happen much out of BlizzCon, is that last year, or no, 2 years ago when they announced Overwatch originally, the way that they did that is they had some events going, and then they had like a long empty space in their timetable, and that's where they did the Overwatch announcement.
Oh, so it was just a time filler. Really?
No. It was secret. They didn't want to tell anyone that they were announcing a new game. Because obviously you don't want to announce the new game before you announce the new game.
Right.
So there's nothing like that. Like, everything has been named and selected, and all the time is accounted for. So, I don't know. But apparently there's there's a hour and a half or 2 hour long panel, which is going to talk about like the Diablo 3, like Diablo updates and expansions. But
they kind of just stopped at Legacy. What's the Soul Reaper of Souls?
Yeah, Reaper of Souls.
Yeah, they can't just stop there at this stage. I mean, they still do the seasonal seasons. Every now and
it's
then.
in maintenance mode. Like the last patch which came out had 40 changes, but it was like number tweaks. Like, this armor does now 600% damage buff. Like, it wasn't like gameplay.
It's not
like a massive.
pausable.
It wasn't like a major meta change where the previous seasons have been.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Did you guys hear that Razer acquired THX?
No, I didn't
Razer
hear
bought
that.
THX.
Acquired. Pretty much bought THX.
This is the same THX you used to make that
Yeah.
long. Yes, that one. Just so that we're clear.
Turn it up! Turn it up!
I love that shit. I love that. That was good times.
But yeah,
Why? For their speakers?
I think they just can because people are just calling them out on their audio stuff.
But why not just partner up like everyone else does with Dolby? I mean,
I don't know. Maybe I remember
maybe it'll be cheaper long run, but
might be. Well, see, they've acquired it, but I think they're keeping THX as its own thing. We're just using all of its its software, hardware, patents, etc. And I think they're trying to do the same sort of thing that Skull Candy did with Astro when Skull Candy bought Astro, because Skull Candy at the time didn't have very good audio. They had their headphones that were kind of like Beats that are just like a lot of and that's it.
Beats is known for the bass heavy.
Where when they acquired Astro, they released a headset that I bought called Slayers, SLRY.
Slayer.
Nice.
Sorry.
But yeah, and they were actually their first, my opinion, their first good gaming headset that had decent quality.
Yeah.
And because they used a lot of Astro technology, whereby I think this is what Razer's trying to do, where they've gone, okay, our headsets aren't very good. We've got good gaming peripherals aside from audio, and maybe they're trying to take what THX has and says, all right, let's make it good.
That sounds good. Sounds like they're rising to something.
I mean,
there.
I hope.
The only thing I didn't really like from Razer was, and I mean this happened years after I got it, so it's not really like a terrible thing to have. But I got the Razer Naga or Black Mamba mouse, whatever one that it is.
The MMO one?
No. So not the Naga. The Naga's the one with all the buttons.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
it's the
I think it's a Black
macro one.
Mamba. It has like this grip texture on it, which is fine. And I guess maybe there's a lifetime on it, but after a while, your hand, it's like this gel or grippy stuff. Because after a while, you slowly push it with your sweat and your hand always on it, and then dirt sticks to it, and it's real gross. Like my mouse would get dirty, and you can't wipe it clean because if you wipe it with cloth, the cloth fibers get stuck to it.
My Death Adder did the same thing.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
It's not a massive thing. I had this mouse for maybe 4, nearly 5 years before I replaced it. So it's not the worst thing, but it's just real gross. I just don't like it.
My Death Adder did the same thing, and I had that for about 2 years and started doing it after
Yeah.
a couple of years.
Yeah.
And then after that because it started doing. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, I looked at some mouses and I bought Razer Taipan.
Yeah.
Real nice.
I can't remember the name of the mouse that I bought, but it's sort of like one of those sort of mice which looks sort of deconstructed a bit, like it's got all the bits that sort of come out
I've
of
seen
it.
those.
It's real nice. It performs much better than the Razer. That could have been just because like by the last time I used a Razer was like 4 or 5 years out. It's also much lighter.
Yeah.
And it's a little bit customizable, which is good because it's always good to have some more buttons on the mouse in general.
They just look cool, like Transformers. Like one day you're gonna be using your games. Like,
Yeah. Oh, I just thought of something. So like, it's not an isometric game, obviously, but how you talking about RTSs before?
Yeah.
Dawn of War 3 has been leaked the release date for the 30th of April, and the way this got leaked is that there's a art compilation book that's coming out that's getting released, and they announced their release date is the 30th of April. But then when you look at the leaked page that it came up with, it says the release is simultaneous with the game. So if that's coming out on the 30th of April, the game's coming out on the 30th of April.
Hint.
Hint. They call me Sherlock. But if you haven't seen Dawn of War 3, I saw it at GDC. I saw gameplay of it. I saw people playing it around, and I saw the trailers and everything for it. It takes everything that people liked about 1. It takes everything that people liked about 2. And they've made the 3rd game.
Hallelujah!
Yeah.
Like,
I thought
thank
I was
God.
waiting for you to say they took everything people liked from 1 and everything they liked from 2, trashed it, and took the rest and made 3.
Yeah. No Man's Dawn of War 3.
Oh, No Man's Dawn of War 3 featuring E.T.
Yeah.
Like customizable character E.T.
For the Emperor!
Just ride your bike over cliffs. Hey!
Heretic! No, anyway, we can do that all day, but...
But it looks fantastic. It looks graphically amazing. It looks like they've gone to so much more length. It's really unfortunate that THQ Australia
they're not
shut
doing it
down.
anymore,
Well,
so-
they're shut
Yeah.
down. Yes, they had to sell their IP off, but you gotta give them props. Like they went under because they had other issues, but they made a good Dawn of War game, like Dawn of War 1 and 2.
It's
Yeah.
beautiful.
Just think it's like, it's sad, but hey, when they went under, they made a hell of a Humble Bundle.
Oh, shivers.
Yeah, boy,
Yeah,
get
that
that
was a
deal.
great- that was a
Cheapest
good
deal.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay, so I've got some, as always, I have some crazy news that I found. So,
Oh,
yeah,
excellent.
here
I
we
love
go.
my favourite
Now,
segment.
today's one is a little bit, it's not as different as the last one, but it's still pretty funny. Now, we all know how I love birds, as we spoke about recently
I
in
hate
my
birds so
magpie.
much.
Cue the
attack.
bird image.
Yeah, cue bird image now, and saying I hate Max. So police, they usually use dogs to sniff out drugs, right? And usually looking for that. So basically, what happens is at a fuel station in Western Australia, a crow is seen pecking at a bin, and he pecks out meth from the bin, like a hidden stash of meth within this bin in a petrol
Nice.
station.
I always knew crows were smart. Now they're on their own drug business.
the
They're
cops
on
have basically given the crow a commendation and everything.
Oh,
Yeah.
I like-
They
I like
run
it.
a crotel instead of a cartel.
Ah, good work.
oh my god. So again, it's sad to announce the retirement of Jacob.
I'll show myself out.
I just find that funny though that they put in all this length and effort into searching for stuff, and a crow just happens to pick it out in a bin one afternoon on Monday.
Yeah, it always surprises me how animals can just do so much different stuff. Like, you look at that certain breed of octopus that can like harden itself and fully change its shape and camouflage
And
like to any
colours,
color.
yeah.
Like, if you haven't seen this, and I'll put a snippet of it happening, but it is literally amazing. It is like some superhero level
It's
sort of stuff.
terrifying.
Yeah, like you can look at it, it's like, oh, that's a rock. No, it
That's
just
a-
moved. It's an octopus.
Well, like the ones
Nope.
where you're looking at, it's like, I'm just looking at the sand on the bottom of the ocean. All of a sudden, just like red and octopus, and you're like, ah!
Yeah, like they completely change colors. They can nearly go see-through, but they don't even need to do that. And they can make their skin texture change, so it goes hard and goes like rough. Like that's.
Could you
It's not like a
imagine-
chameleon. Like a chameleon's got nothing.
Could you imagine David Attenborough doing something about underwater, and it's like, so we see the fish go towards the rock, and then the rock just eats the fish. And turns out it wasn't a rock; it was some kind of octopus creature.
Oh well, they
We need to get some notes on this one.
Gerald, why?
Speaking of David Attenborough, there's a new Earth 2 documentary that's coming out. So the original Earth documentary that came out for me was one of the big reasons which got me to buy a HD TV. Like as soon as that came out, me and my brother were just like, oh my god, this is amazing. This is like the sharpest sort of coolest, prettiest sort of stuff. My mates who watched it, they got super high and watched it and said it was amazing.
I was going to say, I have friends who got a HD TV for another reason, but you just said it.
Yeah. But Earth 2's coming out, and that apparently is all filmed on 4K.
Oh, yeah.
So I've been needing a new TV for ages. It's been more laziness than anything else. But I've had my current TV for like 7 years. I hate it so much. It is so heavy to move, and that's not even saying I can lift it. I just really hate moving it. Like Rachel can't move it on her own. I could never just get just one girl to lift. It literally weighs like 30 or 40 kilos, but because it's a TV, you have to hold it in the most awkward position over the top of it. And you need to grip it with just the edge of your fingers, so...
Well, I can make a suggestion. I said in a very famous meme, you need some milk. That will help you.
Reminds me of the crap show that was my dad and I trying to mount the TV outside on one of those wall mounts.
Oh, yes.
Oh, that was really scary.
It's so awkward putting them, because you drill in the mount, you put in the arm, and you're just like, okay, now you just hook this TV on, and you hook it on, and you let go, and it goes down for a bit. It's like, well, is it going to hold it? Is it going to hold it? And you just got to let go and just be like...
Nope.
Yeah.
I'm looking it up there, and my dad's got it fully extended out from the wall. Here's this TV stand. I'm just looking at it like my anxiety kicked in because I'm just like,
Do you know what I do when things like that happen?
Magic. Dumbledore, where are you?
I normally just walk away and it's like, well, if it falls down, I definitely wasn't near it, and it's definitely not going to be my fault.
You just point the finger at someone else.
Well, at the manufacturers, hey, you said it would work.
But yeah, aside from Earth 2, which looks absolutely outstanding, there's some amazing footage into it. Another TV show that's coming out soon in the 17th of November is The Grand Tour.
The Grand Tour.
That is the new, basically, Top Gear.
Is that
from
the
Jeremy
one
Clarkson.
the one made by Amazon?
Yes.
Yes.
So the three of them in it?
Yes.
Good.
It's
about time.
Of course they are.
It's Top Gear, except they got double the budget and like half the restrictions. Because BBC, you can't blame BBC totally. They're a public funded company.
Yeah,
they have certain things that they have to uphold to. But Amazon doesn't.
I was going to say, I bet you know what BBC's thinking right now. They're like, I won't say it, but they're just thinking,
Yeah, so when that comes out,
Yeah.
I'm going to get that through my Amazon, because I got an Amazon Prime account. I'm going to get that in the...
Get your free Twitch sub.
Would I ever use it? I'm going to get the highest resolution possible version it has. Going to go to my brother's house. We're going to have a barbecue. We're going to watch this on his 62-inch Ultra HD.
So cinema.
Yeah, it's going to be good.
Yeah.
I'll
be doing the same on my
really
22
like
and
this
62
one episode. I always laugh. It's when they're doing the cop car challenge and they're given money to go get these cars and just do them up like you would a police car.
Yeah.
And this little who's the little one again? I forget their names. The
Hammond.
Hammond, he
yeah.
gets this Jeep and he just puts blue lights all over it. He's driving and they're doing a speed test. He's like, all right, I'm driving. Lose the driver. The car goes bang, and he's like, I'm not in four-wheel drive anymore, but that's okay. I'll just keep going.
My favorite one was when Clarkson's he's reviewing these I think it's a Golf GTI and a BMW hatch, and he's just like, the problem with the Golf is the good thing about the Golf is you can fit this nuclear warhead in the back, and then he picks up it won't go into the BMW, therefore the Golf is better, and then it just ends, and I'm just like, it's good. And then I just saw memes about it all through Reddit and stuff. It was great.
I love the one. It was so cringy to watch because I get a lot of secondhand cringe real easily. Like when I watch cringy stuff, I always look away and I
facepalm.
Yeah, but the one where they had to make their own limos. But then it wasn't just the fact they had to make their own limos. They had to drive actual stars, like they got stars in on it, to a red carpet event. But some of the idiots, they had never driven a limo before, nor have they made one before. They're actually driving through London, which is a tiny street gap, and this car was too wide that it couldn't make turns. So it got stuck and just ruined traffic, and the star just mate, I gotta get there soon. He's like, oh, let me just reverse it. And he did an Austin Powers where he's just stuck in the hallway and it's going nowhere.
Reminds me of a Mythbusters episode, something like that, where they have to make something ridiculous to try and prove some point.
I'm so sick of those Mythbuster boys. They're great, but I'm sick of them.
Oh, well, let's finish.
I saw them live in Brisbane.
Yeah.
That was sick.
Yeah.
The mustache is real.
Yes, the
Okay.
mustache. And it was great. And you know why? My favorite part of the end, they had this girl in a suit of armor, right? And then there was like this big screen. And then they brought out one of those like old school Gatling guns that shoot really, really fast.
Yeah.
And it shot paintballs.
How?
And on stage, they had this Gatling gun shooting at this screen, which was facing the crowd, mind you.
Yeah.
And just there's just all these paintballs. And I'm just like, that was sick. It was so loud as well. Like,
I imagine it would be.
it was like, all right, that was great.
It's hurting me just from the sound of it right now.
Bang, 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 bang.
Oh, shut up.
I subscribed to Marvel Unlimited. If you haven't heard of that, it's basically like Marvel's comic book distributions thing that you can get for like your iPad or your tablet. It's like $10 a month. It's not too bad actually. They got like 17,000 comics on it or something. I'm reading through the Secret Wars because like after like Doctor Strange coming out, I've been watching like Luke Cage. I just got like a strong urge to start reading some comics, and I was like, well, I could download them illegally, but I don't want to do that. Mainly because I really can't be bothered doing that anymore. Even like, sounds bad, but even some stuff that I still download illegally, it's actually to things that I already have a subscription for. So I pay money to Crunchyroll to watch like anime and all sorts of other stuff. But even some of the anime on there, I'll still go to like the torrent sites that I go to, just because it's faster.
I like having like a hard copy of it instead of like.
Well, I delete it right after I watch it, but yeah. I also, sometimes I hate streaming stuff, particularly when it's something that I really want to watch, and it glitches. Like, it freezes for a second, which shouldn't normally happen on my internet, because I got really fast internet. I got like 100 megabit internet. But if
There's Americans laughing at you right now.
Yeah, I know. People would Google 5 being like, what's a megabit? Do you mean a gigabit? It's like,
100 gigabits? I'm sure he said gigabit.
yeah, he must mean 100 gigabits.
Guaranteed there's like a third world country out there being like, haha, you have slow internet.
There is.
Yeah,
there
there would
is.
be.
In the list, Australia is very low, and
We're like 57th or something.
Yeah, but one thing you got to remember though is there are third world countries with better internet. But you remember there's probably 3 houses in that country that actually have internet, which is
Fair enough.
Yeah. But yeah, so Marvel Unlimited, it's not too bad.
Is there a DC version? Or
I mean,
equivalent?
DC Unlimited? No, I don't know. I don't know.
Wait,
But
who's DC?
I don't know. Some Dick Comics or something like that.
Oh, okay.
I think that Loser Batman's part of it.
I thought it was BC.
Can we move
And
on,
it
please?
Sounded for bad comics, but anyway.
Can we please move on before I get upset?
Get triggered. So some cool technology stuff.
Yes.
So one is, this isn't so much cool. I mean, it's sort of hot fire. So the Note 7, the grenade, has officially been cancelled, recorded. It's no longer getting made. It's not coming back out in any shape or form. They're most likely just going to wait until the Note 8 for the next release of that.
Funny about
They've started also releasing updates to existing S7 and S7 Edge owners, where you can get some of the Note features, like Note software features, on those phones. So you got an Edge, so there might be some updates coming out in the near future where you get a few more features.
Yeah, some things. One thing, well, actually, one update. Sorry, real quick.
Yeah.
That I don't like is for some reason I have my always on display because it's just super handy. It doesn't show if I've got a message anymore.
RIP.
Like there'll be a little mail icon. Like if I've got a message on Messenger or something, it always come with a little like mail icon, so I know there's one there.
Is that why you haven't been getting?
I probably, because I don't really pay attention to the little LED. I normally just look and go, yep, there's something there.
Yeah.
It doesn't do it anymore.
Yeah.
Does it not make a vibrating noise?
Oh, it
No,
probably
but
does.
if I'm not there for the to hear
true,
it.
yeah.
Or you got headphones on because you're playing a game.
Yeah.
Yeah. The other thing is the Microsoft HoloLens has been released as a DK unit for Australia.
Cool.
Now it is expensive. It is like $4,369.
Should be expected.
But that's a developer unit. Like, it's not for people being like, oh yeah, I want to just muck around with it. It's made for people who are just like, oh okay, I'm gonna make an integrated solution
We're
for my
serious
business.
about this.
Plus, also, people saying like, oh, it's not a good product. It's gonna fail. It's not a consumer product right now. Right now, as far as I can see it, I know they shut off Minecraft with it, but it's more of a business product. because in all the examples actually shown in the video, a guy wears it, he walks around the office, and he's like, call Daniel. And it'll just like call Daniel through Skype. And like in the glasses, it's only got like an 80 degree field of view, so it's like only sort of like here. But it'll just like show up a little box and his face and calling him, and then he'll answer, and you can just talk. The coolest thing is you don't actually need to say anything. You don't need to say, "Hey Cortana," "Okay Google," "Hey Siri."
Hey Jarvis.
You just talk. You can say.
Even Jarvis don't have to say, "Hey Jarvis."
Yeah, Jarvis, you don't have to say, "Hey Jarvis."
I just want to hear Paul Bettany's voice again.
Yeah, but I mean, the HoloLens, I think it is a cool thing. I think by the time that consumers get a proper version of it, which would probably be like the second iteration, so I reckon the developer unit will probably go on for like another year and a half or so. Then they'll release like the first iteration to high-end businesses, and then you'll get like the second version and third version. But if they increase the field of view, if they get the field of view to something like 150, and they make the unit a bit smaller, because the other big thing, if you haven't seen it, have you?
No, I haven't.
You didn't see the E3 presentation
No,
where they showed off
The
Minecraft?
coolest thing, and like people often like discredit this, the coolest thing is there's no cables. The whole computer, the whole unit is just on your head. There's absolutely
Wireless.
nothing you need to have anywhere else. The battery, the camera, the glasses, it's all one unit. You just sit on your head and you just use it. And it's so like I do 3D modeling, you do 3D modeling. If we were modeling something, we both had one, I could bring it up and you can sort of like see it in front of you and walk around it and then grab it and model. And like that's what some of the stuff they're showing off it.
Take an augmented and virtual reality to the next level almost.
Yeah, and like the augmented reality games, that's cool. Like you put it on, it scans the room, and then you use your hand as a gun to shoot stuff. Like you go like that and it'll shoot, but it knows when a wall is there, so it'll have like the wall crack and then break open, and then monsters will come through the wall. It's cool, man. I think it's really rad. I think there's so much potential there, and I think that sort of product, whilst it is super expensive, once they get that technology cheaper, that is going to be like the big AR thing, like as an AR headset goes.
And I think someone who would really jump on that real hard are the people who make Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yes.
Because
Or trading card games in general.
Yeah,
would
see,
really-
it might be a bit hard for Magic purely because of the vast amount of cards there are, and also a lot of cards don't exactly like.
You could do generic things
You could
in
do
that you just have
generic
a
and, like-
scene,
yeah.
like smoke and fog. It changes the look of the table.
But the reason I think Yu-Gi-Oh would benefit from it better is because a lot of their monster cards are their own sort of monster. So you could play it, and Blue Eyes White Dragon
It's just making me
above
think. You're talking about card games. Could you imagine D&D using that
Oh,
technology?
yes.
Could you imagine that?
Oh.
You could sit and look like your character around the table.
Oh, that would be dope, actually.
That would be
Or just
awesome.
or even you could do that, but also you're I'm looking at this table and I'm watching these characters walk into a cave, and all of a sudden it changes and I'm looking at the top down. view
Yeah,
of
I
the
don't know if I'd
cave.
like that version more, or if I'd like the idea that if you just have like a special grid map you just put down, and you see your characters walk along, and then the map moves with them, like as they're walking, like
Kind
the
of like-
scenery moves.
Yeah, like an ice, a dungeon crawler.
Yeah.
Jacob the gnome approaches the pleb fridge, or I don't know. Just
Yeah, no,
or just or you can check do I have range to hit that with my fireball? You got a little pencil, yep.
Yeah,
alright.
like you
And
just
he's
you still put your finger there and just stretch out, and it's just
And you wouldn't need-
that's 20 feet.
You wouldn't need dice anymore because it could just randomly generate on the thing.
Yeah, or you might even just go like this, and dice will
Yes.
come out of your hand. That would
and
be
little players react to it, it's they become models. And little players see the dice.
I love it when you go for attack, and if you roll like a nat 20, that it's like, oh, and they know it's a nat 20, and they just go
They
in
go
for the
Super
attack.
Saiyan.
Ah.
Didn't mean Super Saiyan exactly.
What'd you roll? Crit 20. Ah!
Another really cool technology thing that's coming out is you guys know the UE Boom stuff.
Yeah.
Like my UE Boom speaker that I used to take over your place when we go.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So there's a massive update that's coming out called the Party Up feature, and you buy one of the new UE booms. It can work with the older ones, but you need to buy one of the it just needs to be up to date actually. And you can have 50 UE booms connected at the same time through a single device.
That's old news. My speaker already, my Bluetooth speaker already does that.
Oh, you got 50, do you? Yeah.
Yeah, you've done
yeah.
a Bart Simpson and got like 100 megaphones and just gone
Testing!
Sorry, keep going. Yeah.
But no, like
It's cool.
it's all done over Bluetooth as well, and it just
Yeah.
daisy chains through all of them. But the other big thing that the over-the-air update that's coming out for it does as well is you can turn them off and on. So normally once they're turned on, you have to turn it which means it can always be sort of synced and paired. And so if you have a party and you got like 6 or 7 friends who got a UE boom, you can all just chuck them around the backyard or around the house. That's it.
It would be sick.
Because
surround sound.
you know how loud they are. Like
You could
that
have
speaker
like
you had is very loud.
yeah, it's monstrously loud. Yeah.
use it as like a cheap alternative to like surround sounds.
Yeah, well, I mean, my store used to sell Sonos, and that is just so stupidly overpriced. Like, if you want to buy their sound bar, it's loud, but it is $1,200 or $999
For a sound bar.
Yeah, and it's not even from like an audio company. Like Sonos, they are an audio company, but their thing is the fact that they can just do wireless connectivity.
Yeah.
They're not known for their audio quality. They're known for their wireless connectivity because they were the first ones to really push the idea of having a simple app where you can connect all your speakers via Wi-Fi through one device and set up all your music through it. Like you can have Spotify and Apple Music all through one app. That's what they're known for. They're not like THQ. They're not like Dolby.
Yeah.
Sorry?
THX.
THX.
Oh.
Yeah, they're not like THQ who are out of money and broken down and homeless. But yeah, they're not known for their stuff.
Yeah. I mean, you saw my speaker, didn't you? The one that I had at my party?
Yeah.
Yeah. That thing goes so loud. Like, surprisingly loud.
Yeah.
Like, the other day I was listening, I'm like, oh, it's pretty loud. I'm like, I looked at the volume on my phone, I'm like, oh, it's not even on full. I turned it up. I was actually scared to turn it up louder because it was like, is this thing going to explode?
Yeah.
And that thing has the same function. You push a button and it connects all of them. More, I don't know how many it can do. It's JBL, so it's not you.
Pretty sure like the big deal with this that I was reading about is that 50 is like there's no one else that's doing that. Like I think the next nearest one only does like 8 or 12, and that's it. And I think it actually was JBL who they mentioned. Like there's like that's like the next nearest competitor, and this one does 50, and there's no delay. Like the latency is gone. And technically, in their test, the UE Boom guy goes, well, in controlled tests now, like, you know, in their place, they've actually gone up to 125.
Why? It's so unnecessary.
Well, I mean, it's good that they only say 50 on the commercial release, because it's just like, it can very easily handle 50.
Yeah, if you can do 125, then...
But yeah, any last topics?
There was one thing I just wanted to mention real quick. There's news about what the Screen Actors Guild have been up to. Did you guys see what's been happening with them?
I've been hearing stuff about the Voice Actors Guild.
Yeah, so basically, well, this is actually, they're in coalition like with these guys as well.
Yeah.
So basically what it is they're going to go on strike because a lot
Which
of
they
voice...
should.
Yeah, because a lot of voice actors aren't getting paid enough
And Nolan North is
royalties.
just taking all the work.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, because he's the man of just about almost every iconic game character.
Yeah. But no, it's good. They should go on strike because people don't get it, and it's like people who have a go at promo models or even models in general, like when they're doing photo shoots. It's like, you know, you can look at it, and for some shoots, maybe it is easy work, you know, and maybe for some voice acting roles, maybe it is easy work. And, you know, that's like any job. Sometimes I was a labourer. Some days we'd only just be moving stuff from one side of the building to the other side of the building, and I work in retail now, and sometimes it's a real easy day where customers come in, they know what they want, they say, I just want this, and I was like, cool, no worries, I'll give it to you. But other days, for a voice actor, you have to speak at a particular pitch. You have to sometimes say lines upwards of 20 or 30 times because you've got to get that right inflection and tone and make sure there's absolutely no stutter or any sort of catch like that. And they can largely only work for 3 hours a day.
They have to maintain that voice consistently.
Yeah.
And come back the next day and do it consistently again.
And sometimes, if they get overworked, they can't speak the next day.
Yeah.
And sometimes they only do 3 days of work a week, so they need to be paid appropriately in that. If they're only doing 3 days of work a week, they sort of need to be paid in the aspect that they've done a full week's worth of work. Mm-hmm. But people are just like, oh, it's just talking. It's not talking.
Oh,
if you try talk
I've never
at a loud, clear voice for 3 hours constantly, your throat will get hoarse. Like it will get rough.
If you want, what I recommend, what you guys should do is there's a documentary called I Know That Voice, and it's got a lot of good voice actors.
What do you think about whenever you go out to a
One's
nightclub?
from Futurama.
John DiMaggio.
John DiMaggio, Billy West.
Yeah.
All like old ones from back in the day, and all in this documentary, and it's so good, and it really shows how much work they put into it.
Yeah.
It is not just talking; it is so much more. It's acting.
It's people who have never done any sort of creative work who never understand how hard it is, because it's like, oh, he just drew that. It's like, you don't understand, man. You got to like create the design. You got to think of design. You got to think of like why everything is the way that it is.
It ain't easy making a character.
And that line that's there, that line's just not just randomly there. That line's there for a reason, and you see that the line's there because I want you to see that the line's there.
Something as well. You can draw a character. There's a picture of the character. To make a character, in my mind, you have to hear what they sound like, and that defines a character a lot more than what they just look like.
And like I was just saying before, like you go to a nightclub and the next day you can't speak very well.
Yeah, no.
That's exactly what it's like. But imagine if speaking was your job. Oh, what, you can't speak very well? Well, guess you're not working today. Guess we're going to hire someone else. There goes all your money.
We can't pay you for today. We're probably not going to pay you for tomorrow. So see you later.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, two, really quick.
Yeah.
One. So in California, the Department of Justice issued a warrant to a property where they just wanted to do some searches, but what it included was unlocking people's phones, specifically
I read about
iPhones,
that today.
getting them to use their fingerprint to unlock
Biometric.
it. Yeah, using biometrics. Now, there's two arguments to this thing.
Yeah.
One, I sort of, to a point, understand how that can be, like, needed. But then again, I think it's stupid because...
Totally.
It's stupid because the one thing that I agree with is it could have things that self-incriminate you.
Yeah,
which is
over in America, the Fifth Amendment over there, for people who don't know, is where... And I don't really get how this works in their court, because people don't seem to use this in criminal trials, but they seem to use it whenever people get caught into... Like, let's say Elon Musk got caught in for some sort of, like, big scam thing that he did.
Yeah.
He could say, I plead the Fifth, which is, you can't say anything which could be self-incriminating to yourself. Mm-hmm. But no, the big thing that's annoying about it is that the way that they want the warrants is based on the suspicion that once they gain access to the to the thing,
they will find something
that
will
actually incriminates them.
Which is
against
the
chicken
point,
and the egg.
Yeah,
sort
which
of
is against the
argument.
point of the warrant, because the whole point of gaining a warrant is you need to have evidence,
Probable cause
and evidence in the first place. It's like, I know there's drugs in there. Can you let me in to go get them? It's not like, can you just let me check to see if there's anything in there? Because that's not how it works.
I got 3 words to sum this all up. Invasion of privacy.
Yeah.
That's the way I see it. It's a huge invasion of privacy.
Yeah, it's. I think it's going to go to court soon because it's being trialed. Like people pushing against it, but
it sort of, the warrant got through because there was some people. If I was reading this correctly, because the people on this property,
it's going to be challenged.
Didn't know, it's going to be challenged, but because they didn't know well enough. They didn't know that of their rights properly.
Yeah.
They were just like, oh, he's got a piece of paper. Oh, better let them into it. And they were saying that they're like embarrassed about it and all that stuff because they must have had stuff on the phone that was like, personal.
Yeah.
I think everyone's phone's personal.
Yeah.
Everyone has got their own. You used to have diaries and journals that are personal. The phone's pretty much like the same concept. It's your phone. It's not for anyone else unless you lend it for a text or call. But that's it.
But it's because the laws are so behind. So now I think it might be catching up now. But whenever you used to write a letter back in the day, the contents of the letter were private and protected under law. Emails were not.
Yeah.
Even though largely, I mean, that's all that they're replacing. It's letters.
Mm-hmm.
But they're not protected.
Telegrams, I suppose, as well. But I guess with the difference of telegrams, they would actually read it to you.
Yeah.
That's the whole concept of that.
Yeah.
And so, it's silly, but also,
And it's a stupid point of distinction because, it's only, the biometrics. If you have just a passcode on it, they can't do it. But if you've got your fingerprints, they can do it. And it's like, well, what's the difference between my passcode and my fingerprint in that's my code?
Yeah.
You can just think of this as my code because that's what the device recognizes as a code.
Well, I don't know if Apple has it, but I know S7 has, Samsung has it, is a dead man switch.
Yeah.
So after a certain number of times you do it, if they get it wrong, it wipes the phone.
Yeah.
Factory
Apple has a feature where
So
if
just
you
lock it.
No, it'll lock,
It
say,
locks
maybe
it
up to
out.
5 times.
Yeah.
It'll lock it out. But there's a separate feature that's default off, that if you want to set it on that after X amount of times, you can set it that if you don't get the password right, the phone wipes.
Yeah, that's dangerous.
Apple has that. A good trick that you can do on an iPhone. I mean, I hope no one has to fall into that sort of situation.
Yeah.
But if you do have an iPhone and you do have the passcode lock on it, which you have to have whenever you have the fingerprint on it, if you turn your device off and on again, the first time you got to get back into it after it's been turned on, it will not accept your fingerprint.
Yeah, same with the
It will
iPhone.
only accept your passcode.
Yeah.
Therefore, if you turn it off as soon as a police officer came into your house and they turn it on, and it's like, oh, look, my fingers, they're not working. I can't unlock it. And I'm not going to tell you my passcode because I don't have to.
Yeah.
So, sucks to be you, officer.
Rip.
Yeah.
That's breakfast time. Bacon and eggs?
Yeah. All right, guys, that's it. And I think we'll just see everyone next Friday. We're going to have a Pokemon video that's going to come out soon as well, hopefully next week. Yep. So we got some more content lined up.
Cool.
And, yeah, take it easy. Bye, everybody.
See you.